Well, they're going out tomorrow. That's right, Friday they're back. Jesus.
They all back now?
Oh, yeah, they get back. Yeah.
So you gotta drive,
Yeah.
you're driving the van? Yeah,
Take off for the weekend. But you know, more and more of them every weekend are just going to UMO.
really,
They're not going home.
yeah.
I've got to know a few of them. Especially even the girls.
A lot of them have friends up there, they just come and spend the weekend with them,
High school classmates and that
Yeah.
type of thing. And, yeah.
Yeah.
No, drat.
Yeah?
I had all sorts of signed stuff for Kathy and I forgot it.
Oh.
I had my signed right to know thing and I had my signed harassment thing. And
Did you get your name?
ooh, fancy!
Sure, she gets the good one.
You're official
No,
now.
you and David, tell us how long you've been on the council.
Didn't you make Rob bring his from the school board?
Yes.
He wanted to keep that.
Kinda getting,
I tried, he said, you're wasting money, I'm not gonna put it out.
Robbie started?
How goes it?
Good.
Good, good. Yes, sir.
A gift from my wife to you.
Well, there, look at that. Well, it's
Well,
going
how are
back.
you this evening?
That's nice, thank you.
Got to roll for the town council.
You're all warmed up, ready to
I'm
go.
all warmed up, that's right.
While I'm gone, I will
Yes,
be
sir.
checking my email every couple of days. So if anything comes up, it may take a day or two for me to get back to you, just so you know.
No, I'm gonna go, request we go into executive session after.
Discussion items. Oliver, how are you?
Pass this, this is on. I had a chance to look at it.
Thank you. That's good. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Go to the Bucksport Town 2012, roll call please, Kathy.
Collins is absent, Larry Lennon,
Here.
Dave T. absent, David King.
Here.
Item 3 is consider, we don't have any, do
I
we?
have December 29th.
We have two of them. Make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Anything further from the council? All those in favor? Opposed, motion passes. Item 4, review and receive correspondence and documents. Roger, please.
We have several items, Mr. Mayor. First of all, we have a letter from DECD regarding the CDBG Infrastructure Grant Program. The letter indicates that authorization to proceed.
This is my package.
They've given us permission to proceed to, the application is due on March 9, 2012, so we're proceeding along with that project and should have the application completed by then. We're looking to hold a application at the February 23rd meeting. The next item is a draft copy, is the minutes of the Appointments Committee meeting that we last had, so that's should be in the packet. The draft of the lease for the Duck Cove Community Club, I'd given you a previous copy. We still have one more meeting with the group, and hopefully we'll have a final draft for the February 23rd meeting as well. I just the matter of the project for the new nursing home. Mike Millet's prepared just a quick cost estimate and the draft to, as I said, review it, but I thought I'd share it with you tonight. What's quite important is the letter from Mike outlining the issue pertaining to the the issue there is that Mr. Wadwell had already impacted about half an acre of wetlands with the road. The way that works, if you have a large parcel of property and you divide it, the impact on wetlands still is counted for the overall lot. And so, and once you exceed 1 acre, then there's a core of 1 acre. So we will probably have to go for a Corps of Engineer permit. So I'll have an opportunity to review it more closely next week and give you more details once I. In addition to that, there's a letter from Mike Michaud regarding some comments that he wanted to share with the council.
Thank you, Roger. On any of those items?
Yes, I'd like to say that I'm really pleased to see on number 5 that Mike's looking at running that sidewalk out on what would be the new Broadway. I think that something so needed, and it's going to be a great idea.
Okay, item 5, here presentation from 1 2012 to 6-30 2013.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, what I'm trying to do this evening is to give you some preview facing in regards to the preparation of the 2012-2013 budget. Jim is here tonight also to represent the school department. I want to first start off with the revenue side and let you know what issues we'll have to deal with, and then we'll go down to the valuation side and the expense side. First of all, probably the biggest loss of income that we're going to get this year is in our interest earning account. Because interest rates have been going down considerably. Right now, the Federal Reserve is paying no interest to the bank. So as a result of that, when you invest in the bank, you don't get a lot of interest. You probably, right now, on our CDs, we have a hard time getting between 0.5. And so, in our case, in our current budget, we're budgeting revenues from the interest investment account of approximately $90,000, but we're probably going to have to reduce that to $70,000, and it possibly could go a little lower. The other big issue is our Betty program. The Betty program is monies that we get reimbursed from the state for any new machinery and equipment that's invested in the community after 4/1, leading about $550,000 a year from revenues from the Betty program. But what's happening is that when they initiated the Betty program, they started the reimbursement at 100%, but the 6 years that they'd be down to 50%. So if you picked up a piece of equipment in 2007, we were able to pick it up at 100%, get reimbursed 100%. So what will happen with that is that we will reach the 50%. So if you took $30,000 in revenue and you're cutting it back by 10%, you're going to lose. Now, fortunately, there is some provision in the statute that allows us to cap it off. And last year, we were able to cap it off at 71%. We're hoping that we're going to be able to keep that. So if we're able to keep that, then we're not going to lose that. Remember, machinery and equipment gets depreciated each year. So that's an issue that I'm not really sure where we're going to end up with. I'm hoping that we're going to break even, and when I say that, I'm hoping that we're going to, particularly at the mill, that would allow us to keep that account close to where it is now, but there's no guarantee. In my projections, I've basically taken the position that it'll break even, but I could change that as time goes on. There's several items there that we're going to have to look at. Number one, we've lost paper machine number 2. That's one of our 4 machines there that reduced the production by about 20%. Machine idled, and so that means that we have to drop its value to 10% of its worth. Most of paper machine number 2 was fully depreciated to 20%, so we're going to lose only about total value of that machine is, because it's separated on the asset sheet, and probably a couple thousand pieces. So we haven't had a chance to review that with the mill, but they're definitely, I'm projecting that we're probably going to be a revenue loss. The other item is, if you recall, for the members who were on the council last year, we included, out of the energy project that's being constructed now, $10 million gets pulled into the TIF. So that will be a loss of revenue out of the original mill value of $10 million. So that's a loss of about $100 million. In addition to that, we've got the matter of the $300,000, which is the base value of the mill that's taxable. That depreciates as well, depreciates at 4% a year. Now that can be offset by inflation, but we won't probably April. And at that point, then, we'll be able to determine what the mill value is. I'm not sure what the loss or new value will be throughout the rest of the community. Normally, we've been able to pick up times. Today, I'm not sure how much we're going to pick up. So, we might pick up $500,000, maybe $1 million, but we may also lose some. So at this point, I'm Another issue that we have to deal with is to take a look at our assessment ratio for residential and commercial properties through the town based on what these properties are selling for now. As you know, property values have gone down we can take advantage of that is we have to take a look at our sales and do some market studies to determine what that ratio should be. If that ratio goes over 100%, we'll pull it back. Help us in regards to the mill rate, because then that would force the mill rate up. But it will help us in regards to offsetting some of the losses of the mill. But again, we won't know that till all in regards to our overall ratio. So in valuation, it's a fairly complex issue because there's so many issues that can affect it. And we really don't know what's going to happen there until their numbers to us. In regards to expenses, we know now that we have a 3% increase in salaries because last year our employees received no increases. This year, the savings from their reducing their insurance coverage, going to a lesser costly plan, you can see that that's going to offset most of a good portion of the increase in salary. We are also talking now, we had a meeting this evening with the ambulance service crew about making adjustments on salaries for our call people because we're having so there will be some cost there, and I don't know what that is until the group takes a look at what alternative they want to go with. We're not going to make any changes in our fuel cost at this point. We're going to keep them we could have a small savings if we can run natural gas by the public safety building, because natural gas right now is running about 60% less than fuel oil. But we won't know until Bangor Gas makes it. We have Jim here in regards to education. Last time I spoke to him, he was looking at a 3%, I believe, in school. In our case, at 3% would be about $150,000 more. We will have an increase in county tax of about $10,000 between the valuation of all the communities in Hancock County. And then we'll have other increases spread out through the budget that can vary from price of salt to hydrant rental. So if I were to take that all and come up with some, projection that I think might come close to reality, I've poked in $150,000. What I believe will be the loss of revenue from paper machine number 2, which is about $80,000. I poked in what I believe will be the loss from the TIF, pulling that $10,000 into the TIF account. I've taken a look at the increase in the general budget, which would be about 1.5%. Pulled in the $10,000. Is that I suspect that you're looking at about $375,000. Now, what does that mean in regards to our current mill rate? It would result in about between a 4.5% to 5% increase. But again, this scenario is strictly. Things could happen that could change that number one way or another, but most likely would increase it and not decrease it. I don't foresee us seeing a number lower than the 375. The council in the past has always taken a position for the last 10 years. We've had no increases in the mill rate. We're, if assuming that level. If not, then the options to reduce that 375 would be to cut services. We could increase fees in several accounts that we do collect revenues from. Improvements that we have scheduled, because raising taxes is the other option. Adjusting the values, if we have to adjust the values, the mill rate will go up, but the values would go down, so that would stabilize. And then talking to the school about their rate of increase. So those are your options that you'll have to work with as we approach the budget workshops. But right now, as I said, we're developing you will not have a better scenario than the 375 at the current service level that we have now. I'm not as well. What we'd like to do is develop the budget a little more to see if these numbers are relatively close. And then we propose that we plan on having the budget to you, so that'll give you plenty of time to get going on it, and then we'll take it from there. Any questions?
Roger, what is this 2.5% in parentheses?
Right. What that is if you took the if you took the 60,000 and divided it against the full general budget, it would be an increase of 1.5%.
Okay.
The 2,000 and divided it in the amount of taxes that supports the municipal budget.
Okay.
Because our municipal budget's about 5.4 million. But out of that, we raise about 2.5 other revenues. Almost double. Now, the other, under LD1, there is a restriction on our growing the amount that we raise from taxes. First one is the average personal income growth, which the state of Maine provides us, and for this year, that's 1.43. If you raise more than that, then the council has to agree. And that's your actual value increase for the community. And you take those two numbers, and that's what you're allowed to raise under LD1 unless you get a special vote from the council.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Item 6, hear presentation by the superintendent of schools regarding the budget year 7/1/2012 to 6/30/2013.
Good evening, everybody. Got just a quick timeline of the budget process. On the side of the schools. To give you an overview, start with the positive news, I guess, first, is the natural, very important project for the education program. That project comes through, we will be able to reduce our heating costs, we're projecting by more than $100,000. Currently, the budget we've built is anticipating natural gas. We're very hopeful and very appreciative of that project going forward. Relative to the last fiscal year, we use 50% valuation and 50% pupils in determination of the shares between the communities. Bucksport's valuation has seen an increase of and your pupil count has gone down approximately 1% as well. Okay. Your total pupils in Bucksport in 2011 were 732. Anticipated they'll come in about 699. You'll see an increased share of valuation portion and a decreased share in student portion.
Those are the Bucksport students, right?
Those are the Bucksport students. Overall, we're looking students from last fiscal year to this fiscal year of approximately 36 students. That will reflect in the Essential Program Services funding formula number of students, and that will reduce the amount of money we will get from the state.
100?
Oh, yeah, we're down around 1130. Okay. And see that number is sliding below 1,100 and then flattening out in the next few years. Higher than expected enrollments at our early elementary grades. We anticipated coming in this year 85 kindergarten students. We have 97. One of the challenges we will be facing this year, as Roger said, we are anticipating our rough draft came in about a 3% increase on the expense side. We're losing $300,000 of federal jobs fund money that we built in last year on the revenue side. That is going to be a hole. As far as the rest of the revenues, I do not have any preliminary numbers that I can work with. 79 form. I'm supposed to have that by February 1st. I've been told do not anticipate that until they get through the budget work down at the State House. Okay. So our work right now is strictly on the expense side of the budget. We're looking at all of our ratios. We're taking a look at programming. As you know, we've made significant reductions over the last 3 years. Now we're taking a look at making sure that if we do have declining enrollments, we'll make it. One of the major challenges that we're going to be facing is there's a lot of changes and dramatic changes that are being proposed for education. Charter schools. I do not have specifics to discuss. I do know in the rough drafts of what I've heard discussed coming out of the Department of Education, this could result in a loss of funding for the schools here. How this is going to break out, nobody knows at this point in time. The charter school students take the amount of money that the district would raise per student, general purpose aid, locally raised money, federal monies, $1,000 per child. They would all go to a child wherever they went. We don't know who would go to a charter school, and we would receive a the projections and they haven't even finalized the rules for establishing a charter school. There's no charter schools that have been approved yet in the state of Maine. The last Maine School Management was that they're pushing the commissioner to approve at least one for next fall. I don't know what that means for us, but down the road, I'm sure there will be others. They can approve up to 10. They're also talking about choice. Take with them, go where they'd like to. Again, that's similar to a tuition student. We would have to send the money out. It flows to us and then we flow out. Okay, so very dynamic and dramatic times that are happening in education. And then what I just shared with you, and so I don't know how to anticipate what it will be. My hope is that this process slows down enough so people can develop rules and processes so we can adapt to them instead of have to be things on the fly.
Would you be able to take voucher students here from other communities?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, there are a number of communities around us that have choice, and students do have choice. Actually, we've seen an increase of the number of students coming in with tuition. But this is going to change what they're predicting and projecting. Is going to change the whole landscape of education, public education in the state of Maine. And I won't go any further about value statements about that. Verification and rulemaking. As you can see, it's going to happen. We begin our budget work in earnest. Our first budget workshop will be February 1st. Further dates after that will be established. Again, we'll work right through the different cost centers and go through item by item. Allow the school board the opportunity to ask questions. And we're targeting, as usual, towards a May validation, a May town meeting, budget meeting, and June validation
Anybody have any questions?
How's your year going so far?
Some aspects have been fantastic. Many challenges that we're facing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Highly welcome, and certainly come back anytime you'd like. And I'll continue to work closer with Roger as things become more clear.
To resolve R 2012-101 regarding participation in the Main Service Center Coalition.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I've been a member of the Main Service Center Coalition for the last 5 years, and the purpose of the Main Service Center Coalition is to represent main service centers like Bucksport regarding the impact for the town to participate in the coalition. Our assessment this year would be $589.08. If you do choose to participate, you would have appointed designee and an alternate to vote at the Main Service Center Coalition business meetings. The resolve has been written that we would continue the participation. I've usually served as your designee, and usually a member of the council has served as the alternate. In this particular case, I serves on the MMA Legislative Policy Committee, and be almost the same thing, so it'd be very advantageous to have him on there. My meeting in this coalition is not changed. And the reason that I'm recommending it is that we are a very, very small service center in regards to the remaining service centers in the state of Maine. For example, in Portland, South Portland, and we're, as I said, we're one of the smaller service centers. And what's happening is that a lot of the legislation that is being supported by the Main Service Center Coalition is not favorable. The new Maine building code, uniform building code that became in effect here in Bucksport is a product of the Main Service Center Coalition. And they were very supportive of that uniform building code, and it is not to some our size. We're now put in a position that we have to begin to enforce that particular code 2012, even though that right now it is in effect. We're not supposed to enforce it. We had decided here as a council, responsible for the enforcement, that we would require the citizens to hire their own inspector and then submit the inspection to our code enforcement officer, who would then have to accept it and issue the certificate of occupancy. Of that is that originally, when they proposed the legislation, it was proposed for communities of 2,000 and more. But last year, they changed it to enforce that code, but we will. And I'm not sure that you folks have seen this code, but this code is this thick. And you know what codes are like. And I felt that when I spoke up at the Main Service Center Coalition, I was the only one that opposed this particular way of administering it. I had no objections if have the choice whether they wanted it or not, but they made it mandatory for all communities over 4,000. And so that's one example of why I don't see the coalition anymore. They supported an adjustment in the essential program service formula for school departments that penalized communities our size. and gave more money to the larger communities. Now change that, but it wasn't because of the support of the Maine Centers Coalition, it was support from the policy committee. So we have representation now on the Legislative Policy Committee, and 600, and for that reason, I'm recommending that the council not approve Resolve 2012-101.
Okay, how would the council like to proceed?
So moved.
Second.
For approval of the resolve?
No, to not approve the
'Cause of-
resolve.
It's written in the positive side.
It's written,
Yeah, so-
it's written to
Okay,
approve.
okay.
I'm saying we do not approve this.
Okay. 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 Anything from the public? Anything further from the council? All those in favor?
Of not approving.
Not approved.
That's the motion.
In favor of
Motion-
Is it?
It's a positive, negative.
You just deny, you're just voting no. You need to
Okay,
vote no.
yep, we all have to vote no.
Well, that went, they just did. They said they do not want to approve
Okay.
it.
That was what the motion was.
Okay, all those that vote not to approve the resolve, right?
Right.
Okay, we got it, all right.
It wasn't gonna be easy.
All right, item 8, consider resolve R 2012-102 regarding appointments for the ensuing year. Who's the appointments committee guy?
I don't know, he's not here tonight.
Nice.
What I do with my paper.
If you look at the resolve, appointing 2 positions today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're gonna, appoint Roger Raymond as interim manager is appointed. We've also, told him that we'd provide him 1 month prior notice to the so that he can get his affairs in order for the termination. And he will be paid currently. And pay won't be paid by us, by the town. And the other appointment is Kathy Downs, be appointed register of vote, expiring January 31st, 2013. And the rest of the names that are on the appointments, I gotta get with you later.
Okay, how would the council like to proceed? And a seconded to approve the resolve R 2012-102, appointments for the ensuing year. Anything from the public? Anything further from the council? Okay. Item 9, consider resolve R 2012-103, writing off uncollectible receivables from the ambulance service.
Mr. Mayor, remember, we have been asked by our finance director to write off $5,450.60 for the period of October 1, 2010, 2011. Most of that is third-party allowances, and what that is, when we bill a client under Medicare or Medicaid, they only pay us a portion of the run, our cost. And that's what the bulk of this $5,450 is.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to... Anything from the...
amount? 5,000?
$5,450.60.
Thank you.
Anything further from the council? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Item 10, hold public hearing on a CDBG enterprise application.
Mr. Mayor, before you take public testimony, I'd just like to give the council an update of what this proposing to submit an application to the Office of Economic and Community Development for a 2012 CDBG enterprise grant. And do several projects. The first one would be a downtown facade program. This would be a similar program that we had submitted under the Maine's Future Bond money but did not get funded, so that would be one component of it. The other one would be doing some improvements on the westerly end of the wall across the railroad track and causing us some problems. This would help alleviate that problem, and the final component of that would be building street to the town dock. Right now there is a sidewalk, but it doesn't go all the way down, and this would be one of the walks that was proposed as part of the waterfront walkway. So that's basically the project. We can apply for $150,000 as part of the grant application. We need to hold a public hearing, and this is what we're asking you to do. Dave has run the advertisement in the enterprise, and now it would be appropriate or not. They feel that we ought to pursue.
This is the same grant?
No, it's not.
Different?
That one is a public infrastructure grant, which is for the new standpipe.
Okay.
And that one would be $500,000, and that's the one.
Okay, we don't have to act on anything here.
No, just take public testimony.
Okay. Is there anything from the public?
Weiss from Northeast Historic Film in the Alamo Theater, and I just want to speak in support of pursuing this grant application. We participated a few years ago in a facade program to the organization, and it's pretty much why our bricks didn't fall into the street, and it helped us leverage other funds. So from our perspective, and particularly in the facade part of the overall enterprise grant, I think it was a great thing, and we benefit by trying to.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
We've painted our building this year, done a lot of other work on it in the last 3 or 4 years, and the goal is we would like to rebuild the ground floor was in 1844, make the building more historically accurate and more of a centerpiece for the town. I think if you drive into town, just because the position of the building is very visible. And so we'd like to put better signage, lighting, take the window with Maine Historic Preservation. Earl Shuttleworth's been very helpful with us to find, models that we can use and so forth. So it's a big project. Anything would help, but it would just, and it would be kind of nice to have that all with a serious business right there. So, it's serious business.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Robert Blake from working with Buck Memorial Library. And Larry, working since 1998 trying to repair the foundation of the old building. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, and part of that culture. $1,000. So we're going to get information and see if our organization could somehow meet a match. I understand it's a matching grant. projects here that could benefit from this, so I don't know if we'll meet the criteria, or we could come up with a matching funds, but we certainly want to express an interest and encourage the county.
Anyone else? Do we have to have, okay. That was just public comment, it wasn't. So we're off to item 11, issue licenses or permits, if any. You have none. Okay. Item 12 is sign the sewer commitments.
I'm going to. We don't need to vote on it, just sign it.
Okay. Item 13 is hear comments from Robert Wadlow regarding practices impacting his business. Mr. Wadlow, before you get started, I just want to practices impacting your business. If you have a issue with a particular employee or employees of the town, we welcome you to have a written on. So go ahead, free to speak.
It is it is impacting my business. The person in question, my work considerably. You had a full-time person in this spot, and it takes it's taking up to 3 to 4 to get one inspection, and the last one we had done took 6 days. A few times, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And
In reference to what type of inspections?
well, sewer inspections.
Sewer, septic systems, basically,
Yep.
you're talking about? Okay.
I do know I've never had it done in one day, 2 inspections in this town. Other towns, yes. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, and got it done, 2 inspections in one day. That's never happened in town of Bucksport since this guy's been here. I realized it was probably I've been here a long time, and I just don't think it's right.
Yeah, when you say 2 inspections, what's?
These a
2
scarification, a license to do in almost every. The guy has to sign off.
Okay.
This person won't sign off on it, so he wouldn't even have to show up on the first one if he'd signed off. The second is.
Okay.
And he would have to show up on that one.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Well, there's some other issues. My customers and stuff, and telling them that they need to put 2-inch styrofoam on that foundation, which cost them $2,100. I told them they didn't need to do it. But there's been 2 foundations after that put in that didn't have to do it. Yeah, I just think he's.
So noted.
Okay.
Again, you're free to, we have forms that you can fill out to make a written complaint against, you do that?
In this case here, the person came in and got a permit to build a new house on 9/6. So they told me to go ahead. (9/21), I got a stop work order from this employee to stop work because he hasn't. My math is right. 16 days. Normal. The woman's check cashed, cleared the bank the very next day on 9/6. Okay. Is that normal?
I'm not a contractor, so I will look into it, but I'm not a contractor, so I can't say.
Well, if you came up on the job after you got a permit to do a job and then you had. Just asking.
I can't.
What are we gonna
answer
do
that.
about it?
Well, I guess we'll look into it now that we've got some data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot. There was an officer that pulled in my pit 2 weeks ago and asked the low bid driver, did you just haul an excavator out of here? Back to the shop. He said, well, you can't go that way. You can't go that way. Okay. Drove right by 2 signs that said no trespassing, no, you can't go in there, it's a mining operation. But me and Sean got that taken care of. But the officer you do commercial work. And the driver said, well, everybody else go this way, town trucks. Roads. Well, Bobby does commercial work, you can't do that. Now, could you explain that? I'm not gonna get an answer out of that either?
I don't know how to explain it.
Maybe Roger can.
No, I'm not, this is not my agenda. You can, as David, you can file a complaint and we'd be more than happy to give you all the answers you need, but I'm not going to comment on it here.
I'm writing down everything you say. Okay, that's all I can do, and then look
Good,
into it.
I was
Then I can look into it, because
Thank you for getting back.
again, I've written this down, and I'll ask some questions, because
I'd like to have you get back to me as soon as possible. I've been having trouble with the other person getting answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, item 14 is discussion items. Yes, sir.
The easy one first. We just had an issue, I wrote it down. Yeah, I'll come to it. The first one is something I would like the other members of the council to. As you all know, the public hearing on the fireworks ordinance is scheduled for the first meeting in February. And due to snap, I would like you to consider having the public hearing in February, like it's scheduled, but delaying March. I really would like to participate in that vote. Particularly in that I'm the one that brought the ordinance to the council in the first place. If we put it off till the first meeting in March, I'll have an opportunity meeting to hear any input that anybody might have and how that might influence my vote or my thoughts. And it would also give me an opportunity to address the council on the issue after they've heard from everybody. I will say that I talked to Mike Ormsby. He is not in favor of doing that. But I'm just asking the rest of the council if you would consider it when you have that, if you would consider delaying.
Do we have it or anything?
I don't believe we do. I mean, we could hold a public hearing. We could postpone the public hearing if we
You
wanted.
wouldn't have to neither. You could hold, we could then get the notes, review the tape on what was said. So, no, there's no requirement that you have to vote on it the night of the public hearing.
Okay.
And
I think so.
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I thought I read
Yeah, I think
about
I
it.
saw it too.
And again, don't delay that public hearing. I'm not asking that. I'm just, if you could.
I'm with Ormsby, I don't see the need to wait.
And I just don't, I don't think. Do, and
Okay.
I can live with it either way. I would prefer to be involved, that's all.
Okay. All right, so noted. Any other discussion items?
The first one in your packet, and in there is a proposal to do work for the town. And the work that they're proposing to do is, if you recall, we passed an ordinance to convey Long Pond to two individuals. We're going to split the lot in half. And we're getting ready to prepare the deed, but in order to get the description for the deed, we need to establish the line that would be. And the cost of doing that survey is, you estimate to be around $1,200. And I just got the proposal a few days ago, and he'd like to get on it before it snows again, because these folks are. Yeah, so,
He's got the weekend.
Yeah, so we're asking the council to give me authorization to enter into this contract for a cost of not to exceed $1,200 here to establish that line and to provide us a description for the deeds. Now, the cost of this would be paid from the revenues of the sale of the lot.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need a motion to take up an item not that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to take up an item not on the agenda. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve the.
We have a motion and a seconded to approve the request for a survey. Anything from the public on that item?
Well, I wish somebody would speak up. You guys had asked me one time, get some hearing aids. I've got some hearing aids.
Okay.
Very good. That's it. You don't have to mumble, guys. We want to hear out here.
Okay, we voted to take up an item not on the agenda, and it's to do with a survey on a piece of property from the money that will be part of the sale cost. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, motion passes. Okay, anybody else on a discussion
I
item?
knew there was the school budget. Are we going to have a representative, Debbie or someone, attend those budget hearings?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else on a discussion item? A discussion, I'd like to take up an item not on the. We go into executive session for personnel matter.
Second.
We can't make it yet.
We have to.
You have to
vote
make a
go out of-
motion to take up an item not on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
I'll make.
Okay, and we have a seconded.
Bill
Second.
seconded it.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Now-
Mr. Mayor, before you do that, your purpose or your personnel matter is to discuss the appointment of a people know what that is.
Okay? So I
So
make,
now you can make the
okay,
motion.
I make a motion that we go into executive session, to take up the matter of the position of new town manager.
I second.
We have a second. Okay, opposed? The motion passes. Okay, we're going into executive session.
And for the public, there will be no action taken other than adjournment.
Oh, yeah, that would happen.